What if I told you that one single chapter in the Bible contains the secret to understanding why English-speaking people around the world still use phrases like beneath our feet and sitting on his throne in everyday conversation? You're about to discover how Psalm 47, written over 3,000 years ago, shaped the English language we speak today, and why learning these 9 verses will unlock dozens of expressions you hear in movies, songs, and conversations every single day. Imagine walking into any English-speaking country and instantly recognizing patterns in their language that most native speakers don't even notice. Today, we're diving deep into Psalm 47, but this isn't just about religion or ancient texts. This is about mastering English through one of the most powerful pieces of literature ever written. And by the end of this exploration, you'll understand why millions of people have been shouting, clapping, and celebrating using these exact words for centuries. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The very first verse says, "Come, everyone, clap your hands. Shout to God with joyful praise." Notice how direct and simple this is. In English, when we want everyone to participate, we often use this pattern, come plus everyone plus an action verb. You'll hear this same structure in sports stadiums, concerts, and celebrations worldwide. The phrase clap your hands is so embedded in English culture that it appears in countless songs. From children's nurseries to pop music, when you master these basic command structures, you're not just learning Bible verses. You're learning how English speakers naturally give instructions and invite participation. The word shout here teaches us about English intensity. English has many words for making noise, whisper, speak, talk, call, yell, scream, and shout. Each carries different emotional weight. Shout suggests joy, celebration, or urgent communication. When English speakers say shout out to my friends or give a shout, they're using this ancient concept of vocal celebration and acknowledgement. The phrase joyful praise shows us how English often combines emotions with actions, creating compound meanings that express complex feelings in simple ways. Moving to verse 2, we encounter "For the Lord Most High is awesome. He is the great King of all the earth." The word awesome has traveled an incredible journey in English. Originally meaning inspiring awe or wonder, it was reserved for truly magnificent things. Today, young English speakers use awesome for everything from pizza to movies. But understanding its original power helps you grasp why it's such a popular word. When someone calls something awesome, they're unconsciously tapping into this ancient sense of wonder and respect. The phrase "great King of all the earth" introduces us to English superlatives and global thinking. Notice the pattern: adjective plus noun, plus of all plus location. You'll hear this structure everywhere. The best player of all time, the greatest city of all America, the smartest person of all the students. English loves to rank things and make comparisons. And this verse shows you the classic pattern for expressing ultimate superiority or importance. Verse 3 brings us, "He subdues the nations before us, putting our enemies beneath our feet." The verb subdue is sophisticated vocabulary that appears in business, politics, and personal development contexts. When English speakers talk about subduing their fears, or companies subduing the competition, they're using this powerful concept of bringing something under control. The phrase "beneath our feet" is pure poetry that's entered common English usage. People say things are beneath them when they consider something unworthy of their attention, or describe defeat as being under their feet. This verse also teaches us about English prepositions of position and power. "Before us" suggests presence and confrontation, while "beneath our feet" indicates complete defeat or submission. These spatial metaphors are fundamental to how English speakers understand power, relationships, success, and hierarchy. When you master these prepositional phrases, you unlock a huge part of how English expresses social and professional dynamics. Verse 4 introduces inheritance and love. He chose the promised land as our inheritance, the proud possession of Jacob's descendants, whom he loves. The concept of inheritance extends far beyond legal documents in English. People talk about inheriting traditions, problems, responsibilities, even personality traits. The proud possession teaches us how English uses adjectives to show emotional attachment to objects, places, or ideas. English speakers often describe their belongings, achievements, or relationships as proud possessions, connecting ownership with personal identity and satisfaction. The phrase "whom he loves" demonstrates English relative pronouns in action. Whom is becoming less common in casual speech, but understanding it helps you recognize formal and written English. More importantly, this verse shows how English expresses relationships and emotions through simple, direct language. The verb love appears in countless English expressions, from love at first sight to labor of love, and mastering its various uses opens up emotional expression in English conversation. Verse 5 creates a dramatic scene. God has ascended with a mighty shout. The Lord has ascended with trumpets blaring. The verb ascend appears throughout English in contexts ranging from elevators to careers. People ascend to power, ascend the corporate ladder, or describe paths that ascend the mountain. This upward movement vocabulary is essential for describing progress, improvement, and achievement in English-speaking cultures. Trumpets blaring gives us fantastic sound vocabulary. Blare specifically describes loud, harsh, continuous sounds. You'll hear about car horns blaring, music blaring from speakers, or sirens blaring in emergency situations. English is rich with specific sound words, and learning them through vivid contexts like this helps you describe the world around you with precision and impact. The repetition in verse 6 is masterful. Sing praises to God, sing praises to our King, sing praises. This isn't just religious instruction, it's a lesson in English emphasis and rhythm. English speakers often repeat key phrases for emotional impact, whether in speeches, songs, or passionate conversation. Notice how the repetition builds energy and creates momentum. When English speakers really want to emphasize something, they often use this kind of rhythmic repetition. The word praise itself is incredibly useful in English. Beyond religious contexts, people praise performance, praise efforts, praise decisions, and praise qualities. Learning to give and receive praise appropriately is crucial for English social interaction. And this verse shows you the enthusiastic, wholehearted way English speakers can express appreciation and admiration. Verse 7 declares, "For God is the King over all the earth. Praise him with a psalm." The phrase "king over all" shows English hierarchy language. In business, politics, and social situations, English speakers constantly discuss who has authority over others, who rules over territories, or what principles reign over decisions. Understanding these power prepositions helps you navigate English conversations about leadership, management, and control. Praise him with a psalm introduces the concept of praising with something. English speakers praise with words, with actions, with gifts, with performances. This prepositional pattern appears everywhere. Celebrate with music, honor with ceremonies, remember with photos, express with art. Learning these with phrases dramatically expands your ability to describe how actions are performed and emotions are expressed. Verse 8 continues the royal theme. God reigns above the nations, sitting on his holy throne. The verb reign appears in countless English contexts beyond monarchy. People talk about ideas that reign supreme, emotions that reign in their hearts, or champions who reign in their sports. sitting on his throne creates a powerful image that English speakers use metaphorically for anyone in ultimate authority or control. The phrase above the nations teaches us about English spatial language for superiority and transcendence. People talk about rising above problems, standing above criticism, or being above certain behaviors. This upward spatial language for moral, social, or professional superiority is fundamental to English thinking and expression. The final verse brings everything together. The rulers of the world have gathered together with the people of the God of Abraham, for all the kings of the earth belong to God. He is highly honored everywhere. This verse is packed with useful English patterns. Gathered together shows you how English often combines similar words for emphasis. People gather, collect, assemble, or come together, and adding together intensifies the unity. Rulers of the world teaches you English leadership vocabulary. In modern contexts, people discuss world leaders, global rulers, international authorities, and planetary governance. The pattern adjective plus of the world appears constantly in English media and conversation. Belong to expresses ownership, membership, and relationship in ways that extend far beyond possession. People belong to families, belong to organizations, belong in certain places, or feel they belong with certain groups. The final phrase, highly honored everywhere, shows you English adverb intensification. Highly can modify many adjectives. Highly respected, highly skilled, highly motivated, highly recommended. Everywhere emphasizes universal scope, just like everyone emphasized universal participation in the first verse. This creates a beautiful circular structure that sophisticated English writers often employ. Throughout these 9 verses, you've encountered command structures, emotional vocabulary, spatial metaphors, sound words, power, language, relationship expressions, and cultural concepts that permeate modern English. Every phrase connects 2 patterns you'll recognize in conversations, movies, books, songs, and social media. When you learn English through texts like this, you're not just memorizing words, you're absorbing the deep cultural and linguistic patterns that make English speakers sound natural and confident. This psalm demonstrates why learning English through meaningful, powerful literature transforms your language skills. These aren't just ancient words, they're living language patterns that continue shaping how millions of people express joy, authority, relationship, and celebration. By understanding these verses deeply, you've gained insight into English rhythm, emphasis, emotion, and cultural values that will serve you in every English conversation you'll ever have. The next time you hear someone say, "That's awesome," "beneath my level," "above the rest," or "highly recommended," you'll recognize these patterns and understand why English speakers choose these particular expressions. You've learned English not just as grammar and vocabulary, but as a living, breathing system of human expression that connects you to centuries of cultural wisdom and contemporary communication.